Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So here's another deck profile for you guys today. This time's on branded Despia, post the September ban list. So as y'all know, I haven't been picking up this deck for quite a while because I've been primarily on branded Chimera, which unfortunately now I can't really play it as branded Chimera now that we only have one branded Fusion. And honestly, it just feels so bad at one for the Chimera version. So, but funny enough, for the branded Despia version though, it's still pretty damn strong. Like even with just one branded Fusion, this deck can still do what it does best. Basically going to Sanctifire and Gimmick Puppet lock, which honestly they should have just banned the Sanctifire and the rest of the cards would have been perfectly fine. So, but I mean, I digress, honestly. So anyway, I figured I'd just share with you guys what I came up with for my build personally. And yeah, let's go and get started. So my build is actually a 48 card main deck build, simply because I don't have grass. And I know like a lot of people are playing the 60 card variation, which I like it, but at the same time, like unless I'm playing grass and triple tactics thrust, I can't really play that build. So like that's the only downside to it. So I decided to cut it down to like 48 cards, and honestly, I like where my build went. So starting off with 3 copies of Aliber. Definitely got to play it. It's your Stratos of the deck. Searches any branded spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Also has a neat graveyard effect where it can basically affect Veiler from the graveyard. So yeah, Aliber's pretty cool. Still on 3 copies of Fallen of Albaz. I mean, gotta play this at 3. He is your heart and soul of the deck, especially because like he is required for all your fusion materials for the main branded line. So yeah. 2 copies of Albion. You can play this at 3 if you want. I know most people do, but I think 2 is just fine considering that, yeah, like it's a great card, but at the same time, like it's better when you search it in my opinion. But I mean, like I said, it depends on like how you go about your plays. I'm playing 2 copies of Tri-Brigade Mercurier. Mercurier is still great because it is a hand trap in itself. Plus, it's searchable too, so like you have many ways to get access to it. Plus, if it's Spanish, you can search out any card that mentions Fallen of Albaz, so it's pretty nice when it comes up. Playing 2 copies of Blazing Cartesia. Definitely one of the most important cards in the deck, especially because like now that, like I said, we're down to just one branded fusion, you need to have as many ways to fusion summon as possible, and Blazing Cartesia can in fact perform fusion summons. And she recycles herself so long as a fusion monster was sent to the graveyard while she's in the graveyard. Next, 1 copy of Guiding Quim. I know I should probably play this set 2, but unfortunately I only own 1. But hopefully, you know, she'll be in the Megatons. And yeah, I'll just grab myself a second copy for when that comes out. So, but anyway, I like that it's treated as both a Dogmatica and a Despian monster. So it definitely comes up. And yeah, Guiding Quim is just great for utility. For the rest of the one-ofs, you know, 1 Tragedy, 1 Kit. And I am actually running a slightly bigger Bestial line than most people would play. Playing the 1 Bestial Lobelian, the 1 Magnamut, 1 Druisworm, and 1 Saronir. So just like one of each of the best ones. Yeah, I would like to play Baldrake, but I didn't want to play more cards than I already have to, so I think just one of each of the originals are just fine. Plus Saronir is just a good way to Foolish Barrel some of your other branded spells or traps that we could just recycle them later. So yeah, it comes up. And to round up our monster lineup, of course, 1 copy of Gimmick Puppet Nightmare. Honestly, like I said, they should have just banned Sanctifire Dragon. That way, you know, people don't have to worry about the Gimmick Puppet lock. But it is what it is. Alright, so that's 20 monsters. Now moving on to spells. And we got a chock full of them, by the way. Obviously, I'm going to still be playing 3 copies of Branded Opening. This card's pretty crazy. It's basically Rhoda and E-Tilly in 1 card. Plus, you can activate it during your draw phase, so it's a good way to avoid drawing Lockbird. For the one-ofs, you know, 1 Branded Fusion. Again, sucks that this card's now at 1, but I mean, it's like I said, this deck is still pretty strong for even with just 1 branded fusion. 1 branded in white, 1 branded in red. I am playing the 1 branded in High Spirits. I know some people like to play multiples, but again, that's primarily for the 60 card build. Where in this build, like, it's searchable. You have, and like I said, it's good when it really comes up, and it has come in clutch quite a lot. So yeah, branded in white, branded in High Spirits is really strong. 1 branded Lost, you know, it's basically Magical Meltdown. And of course, the 1 branded Regain, because again, since I am on a bigger Bestial package, in case if I hard open branded Lost already, I can just like have another target for the Bestial Lobelian. And having that Regain really helps because like you want to be able to keep drawing into your deck and recycle some of your banished light or dark monsters. So yeah, it comes up a lot. Speaking of which, 3 copies of Allure of Darkness, another good way to help have a little synergy with the Branded Regain. And plus, it also helps with Branded, not Branded, Despian Tragedy. When it's banished, you can just add back one of your, you can add any other Despian monster, any Despian monster when it's banished or just sent to the graveyard. So yeah, Allure Darkness, really crazy. Next up, 3 copies of Fusion Deployment. Definitely one of the best cards in the deck because it helps you bring out Cartesia pretty quickly. Or if you want to, you can just go for Fallen Valbaz. And if your opponent doesn't respond to it, yeah, it kicks off pretty hard. As a major board breaker, I'm playing 3 copies of Super Poly. Figured why not. 3 copies of Book of Eclipse. At first I was wondering why people were starting to main deck this, but now I understand. It's not only is it good for disruption, but it's also good for defensive purposes, because now with just the one branded fusion, you have to try to protect your Alibur as much as possible. And if your opponent tries to Imperm, Veil, or even Ghost Mortar the Alibur, you might as well just Book of Eclipse and just keep it from being negated, because like I said, you need that Alibur to kick off, and this is definitely a good way to counter around stuff like that. That way, without playing cross out and all the other hand traps. Speaking of which, playing 2 copies of Talents, and of course the 1 Called By, so I can continue playing if I get hand trapped. 1 Gold Star is a good starter, as well as Foolish Burial. So these are primarily for Despian Tragedy, but again, it comes up for other purposes too, so it definitely helps. And then for the only traps that I'm playing the 1 Retribution, so I can recycle my branded spells or traps. And of course the 1 Fusion Duplication. Fusion Duplication is pretty nuts, so I definitely like it for what it is, and yeah, I like it. Alright, so that's it for the main deck. Now moving on to the extra deck. The extra deck's pretty standard for a branded deck. Playing 2 copies of Mirror Jade. Excuse me, 1 second, I dropped a card. Alright. And of course, 2 copies of Albion. So 2 and 2 is pretty good. The 1 Libellion, the 1 Sanctifier, 1 Rinbrum. Still playing on 1 Guardian Chimera. 1 Grand Guignol. I've considered the second one, but I think 1's just fine. Playing 1 Masquerade. I've actually considered siding this out and playing the Alba Lenatus instead, just to deal with the Tenpai matchup, because they're all dragons and you just contact fusion them away. But I wanted to give Masquerade a shot, especially because it's good for time. I'm also playing the Despian Lulu while Lilith as primarily a target for Grand Guignol, because Grand Guignol can just tag out into a Despian monster from the extra deck. And yeah, Lulu while Lilith's pretty good, but I could always change it up for either Despian Coritis or even the Despian Proskinian. So both excellent targets. I think between the two, I just like the Lulu while Lilith because it gives out the permanent power boost. It also has a negation effect, so it comes out. For Super Poly targets, I got technically this is not really a Super Poly target, but it does come up, the Borlode Furious Dragon, because you can bring this off of the effect of branded in red or even branded in white. So, and its ability to just pop cards is really nice. 1 Mud Dragon, that one for sure is a Super Poly target, and of course the Garura, and let's not forget our friend Predaplant Dragus Stapelia. So yeah, all powerful cards in their own right, and especially the Garura because draws you a card once it's sent to the graveyard. Alright, now for the side deck, I'm playing 3 copies of Nib. Just for another board breaker. I'm also on 3 Droll and Lockbird to deal with any deck on Fiendsmiths. And again, going back to time, I like the Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood. Again, I don't have access to the Mulcharmias right now, so I gotta play with what I got. Double Cosmic Cyclone, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, and of course 3 copies of Evenly Matched. I think Evenly Matched is gonna be one of the best side cards moving forward, so I definitely like it. Alright, well, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will catch you guys again next time.